like, share, subscribe.
Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. What we're going to be showing within this video is the Alumawood pergola freestanding patio cover. In the previous video to this series we showed stamped concrete driveway, bullnose failure on the step, but this is going to be the pergola, and you'll notice pavers already installed in here. That's also a previous video within the series, but my son Timmy's going to go over the details of how to lay out and start your project for building your pergola.
Alright guys, so we're going to be doing the patio cover install, or the patio cover post right now. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the layout and setup for your patio covers if you guys are doing this DIY status at home. So first thing you want to do is you want to go off something straight. I know my vinyl fence is straight with the home, so I know they're parallel with one another. So I'm just going to measure out the vinyl since I'm going to start back here. And since we're going to be doing a 1 foot planter bed right here, I'm going to measure, I want the overhang to be about 1 foot over. So I'm going to go about 2 feet. I'm going to go 2 feet off the vinyl. Need a stake right here. All right. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so right now all I'm gonna do is establish another straight parallel line with the vinyl, which is basically also straight with the home. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go right at 2 feet. Oh shit.
Hey, but Timmy, do you want to bring this in 3 feet? Because didn't they say they wanted it in 3 feet?
I'm gonna keep them far back so that when we do put the string line up, because I'm also gonna have another string line right here.
Right.
So that's another good point. So I'm also gonna be setting all my stakes further back than where they really need to be, so that when I find the point where they cross, it's out of the way once we start to dig. Boom, perfect 2 feet. Now go put another stick down there. So we're gonna do another 2 feet. I don't like Jimmy's sludge. I always end up going like this.
That'll split him right in half.
Yeah, I've already done it a couple times. Look at that, perfect. Put that in perfectly.
Money.
But now we need a string line. Oh, Shane's on it, man. He's on it. All right. Okay. Turn it down. Can you move that 2x4 Shane? That's nice and tight. That'll do. Okay, so now that we have this string line parallel with the house, what we're gonna do now is get a nice perpendicular line with the house, and that's gonna square us all out and make everything perfect. So what I'm gonna do, since I know I have this string line right here as my outside perimeter set 25 feet apart from the fence right there, I want 3.5 on each side, because my patio cover post is gonna be about 18 feet, and I want 1.5 inches or 1.5 feet setbacks for my post. Okay, that's good there. Double check this one. Make sure I went to the same side for each one.
already sit?
Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay, so now that we already have one side squared out in the corner, all I have to do is measure off the very first parallel line that we made with the house to my post. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. We're just measuring off those parallel lines to our post, staking them in, and then we'll run another straight line. That's money. Now we're going to do the same thing down here, Shane. Got it? Me money. I like to do 2 loops because it stays.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never did that before. I usually just go 1 loop.
Yeah, 1 loop kind of comes undone sometimes though.
It's true.
If I'm not going to be moving it, you know, very much, that's what I like to do.
When you run string lines for this, you obviously don't have to mark the stake. You're just trying to get it straight on.
Yeah.
It's not about height, right?
Not about height
That's why
yet.
you do that. Okay.
That'll come later.
So that about wraps up your patio layout. The main thing is that you get those spaced evenly, and make sure you got a square setup there to work with. Also, you want to make sure that whatever size the patio cover is, if it's 18 by 14, you'll want to deduct 2 feet, you know, from each direction to allow for your overhang. So it's 18 by 14, you want it 16 by 12 on your post. That way you have a 1 foot overhang. Pretty simple. Now these particular posts, these are your structural part of the whole structure. They're not the finished product. There is a wrapping or a sleeve that's going to go over those, a nice decorative sleeve, simulate the wood grain. And we'll show all that. Right now they're going to get the post in before the pavers. Much easier to do it that way. You can remove your pavers and always do it later, you know, if it's an afterthought. That's the nice thing about pavers. You can just pull them out, put them back in. Whereas if it was poured in place concrete, you'd have to make a saw cut, and there's a good chance when you go to pour back, it may not match. But paver patio, just take them out, put them in. Any underground you can do that way, matter of fact, with pavers. So they're just going to plumb it up. They've got their string line all the way around outside a post. They're using about 3 to 4 bags per hole. These are 60 pounders. Because these posts are going to get covered with a sleeve anyway, I mean, you don't have to be real careful with getting them dirty or anything like that, because these are just, they're going to be covered. This patio cover is a really easy one. There's no electric in it. There's nothing really to think about. It's just the cover itself, the kit. Right now they're getting ready to sandwich each side of these posts with the headers.
This is my 3rd pair of pants in there.
Yeah, you'll be doing that a lot of construction. Whoa. Jim almost went down.
Here's the sleeves going on.
You ever see a dude wrestle with a pole for 20 minutes? Normally you have to pay for that kind of stuff.
It's a big pole. I think it's hotter if you put mud on there. And the wrestling begins. That was quicker than normal.
Woo! Well,
Is it
got
money
pay
up?
good for stuff like that.
Is it money up top?
Yeah, it's good.
$1 million.
The interesting thing about the structural post and the decorative sleeve is they both have a seam in them. And you'll want the seams to line up. They seem to slide down a lot easier that way. If you slide them on differently, then it's really hard to force them down. And you can leave the plastic on until the very end, that you're completely finished built, and then pull your plastic off if you want. It'll help keep them clean.
The cutting seam.
See that seam? That seam should line up with the structural post seam, and that way they slide down. So when you're doing your initial post install, you want to make sure the seam on the structural post. The nice thing about that measuring direction that you want the decorative, if you're new to using measuring tape, sleeve to be in, it's broken down on 1/8 inch. Like it'll say it, it'll spell it out, 1/8, quarter, and so on. The only add-on to this particular cover, each post is going to get a wraparound, kind of like a little mini bar on each post, to set drinks on, or just standing there and somewhere to set your drink at, or if you have some food, whatever it might be, you have a place to put it. Cigarettes, ashtrays, those kind of things. Maybe a vape.
Okay guys, so we're just doing the headers right now, and how we're doing the headers is I have them spaced exactly 1 foot off on each side from the post. What we're doing next is I'm just finding the middle of the post, marking that, bringing it around to the front of the header, because right now I'm going to be putting 2 holes in the front of the header so that I can get my bolts to screw right into the post. Also, we're going to be putting this C-beam in right here, this steel C-beam. We're going to be putting this inside of the header to give it that extra support strength. So we're going to drill these holes out and then hoist it all up once we put the C-beam inside the header. Okay, so it's very important that you do not over drill, because the buttons that you get that plug up the holes are only 5/8. So you go over that, kind of out of luck. So you gotta be careful. Double check it.
One more.
So that's where the bolt will go through into the structural end, and they have little brown caps to hide that hole. So you don't want to oversize this. In other words, you got to be really careful right here. Oversize it, and your plug will just fall through.
They are hard to get out. Yeah.
Maybe I'm smelling it now. I think.
That's the only thing you have to be careful on these step bits, is you could go oversize real easily. So you have to watch out for that.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
Is that it?
One more.
Always gotta be safe on these.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So it looks like they got some really long stock structural headers, so they had to cut off quite a bit of it. Then they put the sleeve over it and then assembled it.
You done, Shane? Yeah. Finally. Alright, toss her up. Let's get into position, Jimmy. Let's get into position. I need that side facing that way though. The side you just cut?
The side you cut
Facing this way. Out. Pass her over. All right, we need exactly 14.5, right? Pass her over, Jimmy, come on. Pass her over.
Wasn't it like 4? Oh yeah, 14.5, right?
Yeah. Make sure you're, you want to be a little past the caps, if anything. You know?
Yeah.
Like an 1/8 hair over. You know what I'm saying? And make sure, don't check your measurement before we screw in. We want to get exactly 14.5. I got 14.5 exact. What do you got right now? What do you got? Okay. All right, that's it then. Good? There's one.
This has a little cross slope on top. I think they gave it 2 inches slope and 10 feet.
You flush? You flush?
Yeah.
Yep.
Flush?
Flush. And we're off to the races. Right now what we're doing is we're going to be measuring out for our side plates. As you can see, they're right here on the ground, but they come too long, so all we have to do is measure from the bottom of the pavers up to the header beam and then cut them to the right size. So let's see what we got. Alright, what do you think? Pay attention. Yeah. So it looks like about 93 and I would say 1/8. 93 and 1/8. So what we do next is we're gonna measure the side plate now. What I actually like to do though, to have my hole spaced evenly so that I can drill through the side plate into the post, is I like to start with 12 inches for the top and bottom. So Shane, can you hold me at the top? Yeah. With the top cap on. So it's 93 1/4, that's what we said, right? Make sure that top plate's on all the way, because that will throw my measurement off. Okay, so this is going to be the bottom Right there. 93 1/8. Mark it out. I'm just gonna go all the way around, so when I cut it, I can go all the way around and know that I got a perfect cut. Okay. Let's go ahead and cut this one real quick, and then we're gonna put in the holes. Pass me the grinder. No, you gotta be kidding me. Dead on arrival. We didn't put this on the charger when we left to lunch. Son of a gun. Can you go get me the corded grinder? And then also I'm gonna need a black blade on it. Okay, so we'll be right back after these commercial breaks. Alright, and we're back after these commercial breaks. Now, as I was saying, now we have the cut done. All we're gonna do is measure from top and bottom, 12 inches. One right there. Alright, this whole side plate is about 93 inches. We're basically gonna find the next holes for the center, but spaced evenly from the sides, from the 12 inches from top and bottom. So how we're gonna do that, quite simple. 93 minus 24, because that includes the top and bottom inches that we applied for our holes. Now we have 69 inches. 69 divided by 3. That's 23 inches. I'm just gonna mark it out all at 23 inches. Right there. Right there. So we have perfect spacing. Now all we gotta do is line them up dead down the center, put some holes in them, and we're ready to put it onto the post.
There's your fascia for the roof. Also incorporated in that is your gutter. So they already did the layout and on the rafter spacing for these rafter tails that are going to be popping out of the fascia. Each one of those rafter tails are laid out spaced evenly on that. So they have a little bracket that attaches that the tails will slide over and fasten to from the top. The gutter itself has an adapter that you can transition to a downspout, and then you could take that downspout on the inside or the out, hiding the outside of the post where you're not going to see it. You could run that downspout down that, drop it into a drain if you pop the drain up right there, or usually that's kind of the best way to do it, to catch the water. If you got a lot of water coming down, you don't want it to run across the patio to find the drain. You could just stub up another one there on the back side of your post and drop it in there. Here's a little decorative base that's going at the top of these posts, top and bottom. Now we're talking about we're putting those little bars around each post just to sit your drinks on and what have you. The way these fasten is it's simply clamps. There's a little retainer screw at the bottom that cinches it down and it just clamps against the post. And that's what holds it there. Real nice and simple. You can set these at any height you like. You can put them at, you could have some high and some low, depending on who's using them. there's your finished product. Turned out real nice. And that's an easy pergola to build right there. Definite DIY style. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Have a good day.